Hi, you guys. This is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and today I have a super fun tutorial for you guys today, incorporating these really fun handles from the Tipsy Magnolia. I absolutely love the design on the vinyl, the decal, all of it just worked absolutely perfectly together. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I will have everything listed and linked in the description box below, as well as coupon codes for you guys. And also don't forget to visit my website where I have all of the tumblers that I make for sale. So let's go ahead and get started. The glitter we're going to use today is Bougie from Peach Yellow Glitters. This is one of my staple go-to glitters, and I just went ahead and glittered a 20-ounce tumbler and I put 2 coats of epoxy on there. So we're going to be using a transparent vinyl from Banff Custom Creations called Splat. And we're going to do a full vinyl wrap today. So I'm just going to take that sheet of vinyl and I'm going to wrap it right around my tumbler. And I went out of frame here, but I'm trimming the bottom of where I want the vinyl to stop, if that kind of makes sense. And in this design, I'm not going to wrap it around the bottom, so I stopped just right above the bottom of our glittered tumbler. Now, the important step to take is, because we did glitter this, you want to wait to cut this vinyl until you have your glitter and epoxy on, because the dimensions will change as far as what your vinyl needs to be to wrap that tumbler. So we're going to go ahead and do the hinge method today. So all I'm doing here is removing a little bit of that backing, and then I'm going to go ahead and press down that vinyl. I made a crucial mistake. I didn't have my big squeegee from the Bowen handy, so I tried to use my fingers and it got a little bubbled. So as you can see there, this vinyl is super easy to pull up and reposition. So I went ahead and did that and then wrapped my tumbler with that vinyl. Once we got it wrapped, I'm going to cut off that excess with some scissors, and then I'm going to take my On the Tumbler trimmer, and this is from Doobie's Treasures. If you know me, I'm obsessed with this tool. I use it all the time. So you just line it up with that seam, and then you just pull that little blade right down the little ruler that it sits on, if you will, and then you just pull off that excess and your vinyl is cut seamlessly and straight, because I can't do that for the life of me with an X-Acto knife. And then we're going to go ahead and put 1 coat of epoxy on our tumbler. As you know, I love KSRESIN Liquidy Split Ultra UV Epoxy. And now for the fun step, I went to Tipsy Magnolia, and if you search handles, it pulls up all of these super fun handles. And today with this vinyl, that super sharp tipped star handle stood right out to me. I knew what I wanted to do with it, and it was going on this tumbler. All I'm going to do here is base paint our star in black 3.0 acrylic paint. You can use any paint you would like. That's just what I have handy. And I will say, spray painting this would be leaps and bounds easier. It was raining when I was doing this tutorial, so I didn't have much of a choice other than to paint it with acrylic. But if you go ahead and just lay it on a piece of cardboard, spray paint it, let it dry, flip it, spray paint it again, it will be so much easier. This took way too long to get into all the little nooks and crannies, but you do what you gotta do sometimes. The glitter we're going to use on this handle is Gentleman from Peach Yellow Glitters, and this is another staple. I use it all the time. And to apply our glitter, I'm going to take my UV resin, and I'm just going to use a paintbrush to paint that UV resin all over our little star. I have the little finger gloves here just to save my fingers from getting all sorts of paint and UV resin on them. You're just going to want to take your time here and make sure to get the UV resin all over that little handle. You do want to avoid the very base of the handle, if that makes sense. So at the bottom of the star there, you don't want to put any UV resin or glitter down there yet, because you want to be sure that you're going to have a solid base to adhere to the tumbler. So just avoid that very bottom of either side of the handle. Once we have our UV resin all over that, we're going to go ahead and take our gentleman and sprinkle it all over that handle. Then we're going to do our best to tap off that excess by taking a little screwdriver there and tapping the bottom of the handle there. And then I'm going to take my handle and stick it right under my little curing stand, and we're going to cure that for about 90 seconds. Once that handle's all cured, now it's time to attach it to our tumbler. So I'm going to put it right on the seam today. And here I'm just trying to decide where I want to position it on the tumbler itself. Ultimately, I decided to stick it off center up toward the top of the tumbler. To attach it, we're going to take some UV resin and we're just going to set it right on the little base spots of our handle there. And then we're going to go ahead and set it right on our tumbler, and we're going to take our UV light and try and flash cure it real quick so that it doesn't move. And then I will cure all around that handle for, I would say, about 2 minutes. I just took the light and just kind of positioned it differently so that it got all different directions of the base of that handle. Once our handle's attached to the cup, now we're going to take our paintbrush again with UV resin and we are going to seal in that glitter. This is just going to make the epoxying step that we go to next easier. It takes the risk away of any glitter spreading onto the tumbler itself and just really gives us a good base for our next coat of epoxy. And I did this step in multiple series, if that makes sense. So I took the UV resin and I put it all over one side of that handle and then I cured it. Took it back out and I did another side of the handle. So like we're saying, there's the left side, there's the right side, there's the top, and there's the bottom, if that makes sense. So I did each one of those steps separately just to ensure that I didn't get any drips or anything with my UV resin. It was just a lot easier to control this way than trying to paint on the UV resin all over the entire handle and keeping that UV resin smooth and not moving around. So I did it in steps. You can attempt to do it all in one fell swoop if you'd like, but this was the easiest way for me to do it and keep the handle flawless. Once we get that whole handle sealed in with our UV resin, we're going to go ahead and apply our decal. I got this decal sheet from BAMP Custom Creations and it came in the December sub box. I believe they are available for sale right now though. So they have these really cool, almost like graffiti sayings, and this one that says the idea is not to live forever, it's to create something that will. I just loved it and I knew it needed to go on this tumbler. So I went ahead and just took my decal, cut that out, cut off some of the backing, and then applied it via the hinge method like I generally do. And for myself, standing that tumbler up and getting a straight on view really helps me get my decal straight. You can apply the decal however you would like. That is just the easiest for me. To really finish off the tumbler, I took my nail tape. This is just a black nail tape, and I'm going to add that right on the seam line on the top and the bottom of the vinyl where it meets that glitter. Now comes the tricky part to epoxy. I leave my turner off and I'm just gonna go in with my epoxy here, and I'm gonna be sure I get every spot of that handle epoxied before I start my turner turning. It is so much easier to control it this way, and rather than playing catch up as it's turning, it just 10 out of 10 recommend leaving your turner off to do this step. And then at this point too, when the turner is off, I'm gonna be sure to epoxy all underneath the handle on that vinyl section, just to be sure that we don't miss any of that either. Then I go ahead and turn on the turner and I start doing my normal epoxying as I normally would. And because I have a problem and I just can't handle not adding more glitter, I took these cute 4-point stars. I have no idea where I got them, but I will find some and link them for you. And I put them in a little bit of epoxy just to make the application a little bit easier and controlled. And I went ahead and put them in the sections where there was a solid color that just was prominent, if that kind of makes sense. As you can see, there are parts of the vinyl where like there's big yellow bursts and pink bursts, and I really tried to concentrate those little stars in those areas. Really, I mean, it's not like you're full-blown glittering the tumbler, so you could add them to the entire tumbler if you would like, but this is just how I applied them, and I loved how it turned out. So don't forget to use that torch and pop any of those air bubbles that we created while kind of messing with the epoxy while we applied those stars. And after this coat cured, I did add 2 more coats of epoxy. I just wanted to be sure that handle was really on there and didn't want to take a risk of it maybe snapping off. I've never used one before, so I wanted to be sure that it was solid and we weren't going to have any crazy business later. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I am obsessed with all parts of it, the graffiti decal, the burst vinyl, the adorable handle. It was just so much fun, and these are some of my favorite glitters, so it all came together just seamlessly. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I can't wait to see what you guys do with these super fun handles. I bought a few more and I can't wait to use them. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you again next week.